last week when they brought up the shadow. I know I have shadow, but it was like, can you expand more on how we decide what is shadow and what's just I don't know. I guess I have a block. Maybe I don't want to look at it. Them. Multitude.
Battalions. Oh, okay. The way shadow works in our definition is this. It's the things within you that you are not wanting other people to know about. The things that you're hiding from yourself. The things you're ashamed of, the things that embarrass you, the things that, you know, you would be mortified if someone put on a billboard. You know, you just say, if someone put this on a billboard, would I be mortified? Now, whatever kind of creepy, funky, creepy, kinky things you are all about, you all are about them all kinds of ways. The reality is some of those things are probably habits that you wouldn't mind changing. And some of them are just the flat out truth of you. So if someone put the truth of you up on a billboard and you saw it and you thought, well, I didn't kind of want everybody to know that, but it is my truth. Now, we're not saying we're going to put your shadow stuff on billboards because, you know, we have to work you into even just handing out little pieces of paper. So we're not going to do that. But just imagine, just imagine, and all of you can play along with this, just imagine something you're ashamed of. You've all got at least one. It doesn't have to be the thing you hate the most. Just pick something you're ashamed of. Something literally you're ashamed of that would be hard to talk about. And then imagine that being on a billboard. Marilyn, right? And then feel how you react inside to that potential. Okay? The reality is, in the big scheme of things, even if you're ashamed of it, even if it would mortify you, it is the truth of you. So, as a Homo Spiritus, as an ascended being, nothing that's on a billboard actually ashames you. It is an opportunity. Your reaction to it is an opportunity where you can say, you know, wow, I'm embarrassed by that. That must mean I need to do some work on my relationship to it. Whereas an unascended or un-Homo Spiritus or somebody who, you know, is running the victim mentality is going to see that and speculate and equal signs and project into the future about what it's going to cost them or what it's going to do to their life. Whereas Homo Spiritus says, ooh, okay, now I have an opportunity to have a relationship to that. Go ahead.
So if you've reached a point where you can look at it and go, yeah, that's a part of me that I wouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there, and it is a part of me. It's made me who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the place you want to be with it. And then you want to say, okay, this is something I wouldn't do anymore. It's made me who I am. It's a truth of me. And is my relationship to it one of shame, embarrassment, or is it my relationship to it a place of I know the truth of it and I know what it's contributed to my life and I have a preference that that's not something I do again, right? There's a point you come to where you make peace with the truth of you regardless of what the truth of you is. That's how you clear shadow. When you're ashamed of the truth of you, regardless of what the truth of you is, that's when you, when you're really causing more static to be generated in your life. We have a funny example. Veronica used to work with a lady, and they would sit in, you know, they were in a corporate America kind of thing, so they would sit in these cubicles, but they had really short walls, so basically it was just a desk with something to hold it up. And one of the ladies in the cubicle area thought it was completely okay to just fart whenever she felt like she needed to. You know, like you might burp and say, excuse me, and that's sort of socially acceptable. She would just fart all the time. And she thought it was funny, so she would fart and then she would laugh really loud. It's a very professional work environment, okay? Obviously, that's not shadow for her. Public farting was okay for her. Now, the manager was mortified, right? The manager was absolutely mortified. And the manager actually said out loud, "No one in this world has ever heard me pass gas." She said, "Even when I'm in the bathroom, if I have to pass gas, I put toilet paper up against me so it makes no sound." Okay? That falls into the realm of shadow.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Okay? So on one side we've got, I'm completely embarrassed by biological functions, to the point where I'm extreme about making sure no one knows it happens. Right? I'm pretty sure everybody here has farted, right? Okay, that's kind of how you're built. We'd be shocked if you weren't. We'd actually wonder how you were making it through if you hadn't. And on the other side, you've got someone who's so completely comfortable with that aspect that they go against what society even accepts. Right?
Well, Western society.
What? Okay, whatever. Right? Corporate America does not permit public farting. Right? It's just not in the. It's not in the code of conduct. So that's a really funny, which we needed a little giggle after all our tool talk. It's a really funny example of the difference the same exact situation creates. Okay? So one, you're creating more static, because you know every time the boss goes to the bathroom, she's in so much shame and discomfort about the truth of her. Who knows what kind of stuff that's causing, right? Right. You're going to have some bowel issues, we would imagine. Because that has to show up, right? That you can't be doing that for 40 years and have it not show up in your life. And then on the other side, that other person is doing something that's extremely socially maybe not prohibited, but certainly odd. And the question is, why are you pushing people away? Right? Not only are you passing gas, but you're cackling at the top of your lungs every time you do. This is not a way to make friends, right? People are just not exactly happy to hang out with you, and you probably won't get to go to restaurants very frequently with other people. So no one's inviting you to lunch, especially not some place where you eat beans. So anyway, long and goofy story short, that's a very good example of shadow. A very funny and good example of shadow. So biological processes actually create a lot of shadow because, you know, oh God, you have hair there, and oh no, your body made that smell, and what, you had to go to the bathroom again, right? So there can be a lot of shadow generated around biological processes. But a lot of times it's, you know, good girls don't do that and you did it, is one that creates a lot of shadow. And the idea is sometimes, you know, at your age, what are you doing? You know, that can be another one as you start to, as you're too young or too old, right? Then you get the at your age. And just the idea that a lot of times, especially for women, we see this being true, but it's probably true for men as well. The idea of being told you're not okay in various ways by men over the years, sometimes starting with your father and just going with every guy you ever dated. Somehow there seems to be a sensitivity in women to men's opinions about their size, their shape, their hair, their clothes, their sex drive, their not sex drive, their this, their that can really generate a lot of shadow. Like, I don't want anybody to know that. You know, you get these people who you know, aren't intimate with each other unless the lights are off. You know, people who've had babies with each other and have never seen each other naked with the lights on. There's probably some shadow there, right? So the body seems to generate a lot of shadow for you guys. And then the things you do that you're ashamed of, right? I drank too much that one time. I had sex with that person that one time. I did drugs that 500 times, right? Even Renee was talking about, you know, I smoked cigarettes, nobody knew, or whatever you've got that you feel shame about. If you feel shame about it, then you're generating shadow. And it's up to you to make a different relationship to the shame and a different relationship to the act. It's kind of a two-pronged. First, you have to make a different relationship to the shame. It's like, I'm not going to feel ashamed of it. I'm going to feel conscious that I don't know how I want to feel of it, but I know I don't want to feel shame because that's not getting me anywhere. And then have a new relationship, like you said, this made me who I am, is a good one. But if you don't like who you are, then that's not a good one. That's not an answer to the problem. If, oh, well, this brought me to who I am today, who I don't like, so ooh. Right? There's a real right ground for equal sign there. Maybe not for you, but for other people. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.